Reports say B-52 Stratofortress bombers from Minot Air Force Base conducted flights this month.
In an era of cutting-edge military technology, featuring hypersonic speed bombers, sixth-generation stealth fighters, and advanced combat drones, it's easy to assume that older aircraft have become obsolete. However, there are some veteran planes that continue to hold their own against their newer counterparts.
A powerful demonstration of American military might over Eastern Europe. We're in the cockpit of a US Air Force B-52.
One such aircraft is the B-52 Stratofortress, a bomber with an impressive 70-year service history. Despite its age, it remains one of the most formidable aircraft in the world. Can this iconic bomber continue to prove its worth in the face of rapidly advancing technology? Join us as we delve into how the U.S. is testing brand new B-52s to fly for a full century. Boeing main work starts. You know, sometimes we're stuck with our favorite worn-out toy or that beloved first ride that's stuck in the garage, and we find ourselves simply unable to let go of these relics with sentimental values. So we instead find ourselves reworking them, upgrading them to the new technologies. That's exactly what Boeing did with the B-52. Boeing began work on this promising strategic bomber in early 1946. The main task was to create machines with a combat radius of up to a record 5,000 miles and a maximum speed of at least 450 meters per hour. After a whole year of hard work on the designer's part, they provided an interesting concept of an aircraft with engines mounted on the wings. The project received the designation Model 4229 and almost completely met all the requirements of the customer. In the end, the company did receive funding from the government too. However, immediately after the release of the first two models, problems began arising. The company had proposed two options, one with coaxial propellers and one with 8 turbojet engines. Both bombers were eventually rejected by the customer. Boeing, which had spent a lot of effort and money on the creation of projects, didn't give up. Based on their developments, a new model was created at an accelerated pace. A feature of the project was a 2-story cabin in a separate compartment for the onboard gunner located in the tail section. The project seemed very promising, and finally the development was approved. But some adjustments were made, and as a result, another version was born, called the Model 4626731. And for more than 60 years, this aircraft has been the backbone of American strategic aviation. The main task of the Stratofortress was to deliver 2 high-power thermonuclear bombs to anywhere in the Soviet Union. But this function never proved useful since the Union fell apart on its own. During its service, the B-52 participated in almost all conflicts in which the U.S. Air Force was involved. This bomber is the champion among combat aircraft in terms of flight range. During its operations, it has undergone modernization more than once, and as a result, dozens of aircraft modifications were created. For example, the B-52A is an extended version with improved radar equipment. This version proved to be excellent as a reconnaissance aircraft, and as a result, a small series of B-52B reconnaissance aircraft was built on its basis. It was kind of a transformer per se. Its radars were located in a special container in the bomb bay. This container could be quickly removed, and the Scout could be turned back into a full-fledged bomber. The latest and most powerful modification was the B-52H, equipped with new deadly guns and shells. In addition to the listed serial versions, there were a number of experimental aircraft built in single copies. These machines were used to test new types of weapons and equipment. Over the years of service, the B-52 proved to be one of the best military aircraft, having successfully completed dozens of the most important tasks, and each time the results exceeded all expectations. That wasn't all for the upgrades. A flying atomic weapon. Atomic weapons created at the end of World War II completely changed the balance of power on the world's chessboard. The decisive factor was not only the availability of nuclear weapons in their quantity, but also the ability to deliver them to the desired target. And no one can handle such an important mission better than the Stratofortress. The B-52's flight altitude is twice that of its closest counterparts and reaches as high as 55,000 feet, which made it possible to get out of the range of most radars. Its speed, almost 620 meters per hour, makes it possible to deliver the payload right on target in the shortest possible time frame. And of course, the most important thing is the flight range. 10,000 miles in the latest modification, which is a record among existing aircraft at the moment. As we've already stated, the B-52 was created primarily as a carrier of nuclear weapons. The first modifications to the bomber were armed with various types of free-falling bombs, which were placed inside and had a total mass of almost 70,000 pounds. The height and range of the flight, of course, significantly increased the chances of the bomber being able to complete its task and return to base intact. However, by the mid-1950s, Soviet anti-aircraft missiles could hit targets at an altitude of 80,000 feet, which was a serious threat. It became clear that a significant flight altitude was no longer a reliable defense for a bomber. Rockets looked much better as a means of delivering nuclear weapons. Therefore, in 1972, the B-52 began getting equipped with new weapons. At first, these were SRAM ballistic missiles with a nuclear warhead. They were capable of hitting stationary targets at a distance of 100 miles. The aircraft could take on board up to 8 such missiles. A couple of years later, the bombers were armed with ALCM cruise missiles, which made it possible to deliver devastating blows without even entering the enemy's air defense coverage area. In the mid-80s, B-52s were upgraded to use non-nuclear weapons. Some models were equipped with Harpoon anti-ship missiles, while another got the opportunity to use Israeli-developed AGM-142 Raptor high-precision guided missiles. Both of these are the most powerful projectiles in their class, which can easily destroy even armored targets. And it's certainly not without cannon armament either, having a 6-barrel 20mm M61 Vulcan cannon mounted in the tail of the aircraft. The bomber is made according to the normal aerodynamic configuration with a high wing arrangement. The aircraft's engine consists of 8 separate engines that work from 12 fuel tanks simultaneously. If even this is not enough, then behind the cockpit, there's a receiver for refueling in the air. The navigation and bombing systems are analog. The first modifications of the aircraft were equipped with APS-23 radars, one of the best radars at the time, a rangefinder, and a bomber optical sight, which also helped with strikes. But later on, it was decided to abandon the latter on later versions of the B-52. The AQ-151 optoelectronic vision system was integrated into the aircraft, granting it the capability to navigate around obstacles at low altitudes with remarkable precision. This feature proved invaluable for a bomber of its size, enabling it to execute missions with unprecedented accuracy. Moreover, the night vision camera and infrared vision system performed admirably, allowing the crew to detect even the most concealed enemy targets, including those hidden in dense foliage. The Stratofortress boasts one of the most advanced and potent electronic warfare systems among all U.S. combat aircraft. This comprehensive suite includes cutting-edge equipment designed to disseminate misinformation, generate noise interference, deploy heat traps, and utilize dipole reflectors. Furthermore, B-52 bombers from the G and H modifications are equipped with specialized systems tailored to suppress enemy radar capabilities, jamming transmitters, and detection warning equipment. This formidable array of electronic countermeasures makes it exceedingly challenging for adversaries to successfully engage and down the aircraft. Despite the advent of advanced missile technology and the introduction of newer strategic bombers, the B-52 Stratofortress continues to serve with distinction in the U.S. Air Force. Its remarkable durability, adaptability, and proven performance have solidified its position as a mainstay of the U.S. military's aerial capabilities. Throughout its illustrious service history, the B-52 has consistently demonstrated its worth, earning its place as a venerable and reliable asset in the nation's defense arsenal. According to the plans made by Pentagon strategists, the B-52 will remain at the head of American strategic aviation until at least 2030, but that won't work without an improved and modernized engine, will it? The new Rolls-Royce engines. The Air Force expects to finish qualification testing of the new engines planned for the B-52 Stratofortress by the end of 2024. And the service plans to make a milestone B decision on the commercial engine replacement program by the end of the summer, which would allow it to move into its engineering and manufacturing development phase. These developments will mark critical milestones in the Air Force's effort to upgrade its fleet of 76 Cold War-era B-52s with new engines, radar, avionics, and other improvements to keep it flying until perhaps 2060, about a century after the B-52H was first introduced. The plane's 1960s-era TF-33 engines are at the end of their working lives and are to be replaced by Rolls-Royce's F-130 engine. Colonel Scott Foreman, B-52 System Program Manager, who oversees the bomber's sustainment and modernization efforts at Tinker Air Force Base in Oklahoma, and CERT Program Manager Limited and Colonel Tim Cleaver said in the interview that the base is also taking several steps to prepare for the significant modernization work. This includes plans to build a massive hangar at Tinker starting in 2026, which could house up to 4 B-52's and increase the amount of work that can be done on the bomber at any given time. The Air Force wants to convert the H models to J models as quickly as possible because the clock is ticking on those TF-33 engines, Cleaver stated. The Air Force knows the F-130 engine works, Cleaver said, since a version of it has powered the Gulfstream G650 business jet for years. But the F-130s will be mounted differently on the B-52, and the Air Force needs to make sure there aren't any surprises with the bomber's twin-pod underwing configuration. Rolls-Royce last year completed much of the initial twin-pod testing of the F-130 engines at NASA's Stennis Space Center in Mississippi, Cleaver said. And for a while now, test cycle there started in the early parts March in 2024. Those tests involved exposing the engine pods to crosswind blowers and seeing what happens if one engine in the pod has to operate at reduced power or is even inoperative. More tests will follow, Foreman said. In April, the F will start sea-level performance testing on a stand at a Rolls-Royce facility in Indianapolis. Another engine will undergo durability testing through 2025. And this fall, F-130 testing will move to the Arnold Engineering Development Complex in Tennessee, where it will be subjected to simulated altitudes to produce more data on how it might behave in flight. Once that round is done, the F-130 will have finished its qualification testing that ensures it would be safe to fly and pave the way for test modifications to begin. The first two Test B-52's will be modified at Boeing's San Antonio, Texas facility beginning in 2026. It will take a few years to upgrade these bombers for the first time, and ground and flight tests will go from late 2028 to 2031. After this year's testing, Boeing will set up 4 systems integration laboratories to ensure adding the new engines onto the B-52 will go smoothly. 3 will be in Oklahoma City, near Tinker Air Force Base, and the 4th, focusing on the engine's electrical systems, will be at a Boeing facility near Seattle. Cleaver stated that they have a combination of simulated functions and hardware functions to ensure that their systems are working together seamlessly and that they are not relying on the test aircraft to identify problems. The labs will thoroughly validate the design before any modifications are made to a jet. The Air Force is still awaiting cost estimate updates from Boeing, which originally built the Stratofortress and is the prime integrator on the upgrade program, before it can finalize its own cost expectations and make a milestone B decision, Cleaver said. Boeing is expected to provide those updates around late spring or June. In a statement, Boeing confirmed the Air Force's statements about the need for updated cost estimates. The engine contract with Rolls-Royce is worth $2.6 billion. When the development, integration, test, and production of other major subsystems is factored in, the cost estimate is roughly $12.4 billion. Tinker, where all production B-52H's will be upgraded into B-52J's, is also preparing for its role in the massive modernization effort. Foreman stated that the scope of work is extensive, encompassing various initiatives such as the radar modernization program, engine upgrades, integration of advanced extremely high-frequency communications, and other programs. Tinker's workforce will install the engines, radar upgrades, and other modernizations on B-52's as they cycle through their regular depot maintenance that occurs every 4 years. The Air Force sends about 17 B-52's through Tinker for major maintenance each year and wants to conduct as many upgrades to the bomber as possible as it moves through the depot. But he cautions some modernization programs are moving at different timelines and all may not be ready when some bombers go through. Foreman stated that they have a master plan that outlines the modifications for each bomber over the next 10 years. According to this plan, by the late 2030s, the fleet of 76 aircraft will have undergone significant upgrades, including new engines, radar, weapons, and communication systems. The plan is continuously evolving as new information becomes available and individual modernization programs are adjusted. But the upgrades will mean a lot more work and require a lot more capacity at Tinker. So in 2026, Tinker will start building a massive structure known as the Bomber Agile Common Hangar that could house 4 B-52's and allow for more upgrading work to be done. That hangar will be ready at the end of 2030, in time for the upgrades of production jets to begin in early 2031. Foreman said it typically takes a B-52 between 220 and 260 days to go through depot maintenance. Depending on parts availability and whether a bomber has any age-related stress fractures or corrosion that need to be repaired. The Air Force is still trying to figure out how much more time the upgrades might add to that schedule. Cracking and other structural issues are common on the 6-decade-old B-52 and sometimes require components to be replaced. But the Air Force is used to catching and fixing those problems, and the aircraft should be able to last well into the 2050s, perhaps even up to 2060, without more in-depth structural upgrades. According to Cleaver, a high level of discipline is maintained regarding structural integrity inspections whenever the B-52 undergoes depot maintenance. This meticulous approach has been instrumental in extending the aircraft's service life into the 2020s. Furthermore, he asserts that the B-52 retains sufficient structural integrity to continue operating well beyond 2050. But what's so special about the B-52? And why is the almighty United States holding onto the aircraft for this long despite having very modern alternatives? B-52 is made different. The B-52 Stratofortress has maintained its position as a stalwart of the United States Air Force's bomber fleet thanks to its exceptional performance at high subsonic speeds and relatively low operating costs. Despite the advent of more advanced strategic bombers, such as the Convair B-58 Hustler, capable of achieving speeds over Mach 2, the B-52 has continued to demonstrate its value. Additionally, the cancellation of the Mach 3 North American XB-70 Valkyrie, a promising but ultimately doomed project, has further solidified the B-52's role in the United States military's aerial capabilities. The introduction of the variable geometry Rockwell B-1 Lancer, with its advanced design and capabilities, has not diminished the B-52's importance. Similarly, the development of the stealthy Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, a cutting-edge bomber with unparalleled low observable technology, has neither rendered the B-52 obsolete. Instead, the B-52 has continued to evolve, with ongoing modernization efforts ensuring its relevance in the face of emerging threats and technological advancements. The B-52's enduring presence in the United States Air Force's inventory is a testament to its versatility, adaptability, and cost-effectiveness. As the military landscape continues to shift and new challenges arise, the B-52 remains a reliable and formidable asset, capable of delivering a wide range of ordnance and executing a variety of mission profiles. Its ability to operate at high subsonic speeds, combined with its relatively low operating costs, has made it an attractive option for military planners and strategists. On Christmas Eve in 1972, the B-52 left every doubt about its worth in the dust. While families throughout the world prepared for a day of celebration, the crew of the B-52D bomber Diamond Lil were preparing for something entirely different. The Boeing B-52 Stratofortress had been tasked with a perilous mission to bomb North Vietnamese railroad yards at Tay Nguyen, a crucial component of Operation Linebacker 2. At nearly 20 years old, the B-52 was no stranger to flying bombing missions without a fighter escort, relying instead on the vigilance of its tail gunners and their trusty quad 50 caliber machine guns to protect the massive planes from Vietnamese fighters. As the mission commenced, Airman First Class Albert Moore took his position in the bomber's tail, scanning the skies with a distinction-worthy focus for any sign of enemy aircraft. His diligence was soon rewarded as he spotted an inbound MiG-21 racing to intercept their bomber. With a steady hand, Moore notified the crew and sprang into action, calling for evasive maneuvers and deploying chaff and flares to counter the incoming threat. The Vietnamese MiG-21, though equally aged, boasted superior speed and agility, armed with a formidable 23mm autocannon and up to 2,000 pounds of ordnance underwing. The stakes were high, as more than 30 B-52 Stratofortresses had already fallen in combat throughout the Vietnam War. Moore's training and instincts kicked in as he expertly tracked the enemy fighter, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. With the MiG-21 closing in, Moore made the split-second decision to engage, expending 800 rounds in 3 precise bursts. The outcome was far from certain, but Moore's skill and composure had set the stage for a historic moment. Tech Sergeant Clarence Shute, a gunner aboard another B-52 aircraft, confirmed the kill, witnessing the MiG-21 erupt into a fireball before disappearing into the undercast. Moore's achievement cemented his place in history as not only the second B-52 tail gunner to earn a MiG kill, but also as the last tail gunner in American history to take down an enemy fighter. This remarkable episode represents just one moment in the storied operational history of the mighty B-52 an aircraft whose lifespan will likely stretch a full century and beyond, a testament to its enduring design. But that's not all it is to the legendary B-52. The aircraft boasts an advanced electronic countermeasures suite, meticulously designed to safeguard the aircraft against a comprehensive array of air defense threat systems. This cutting-edge system employs a multifaceted approach, incorporating electronic detection, jamming, and infrared countermeasures to ensure the B-52's survivability in hostile environments. The ECM suite is capable of detecting and identifying various threat emitters, including radar, infrared, and communication systems. Upon detection, the system can deploy targeted countermeasures to neutralize or disrupt the threat, thereby protecting the aircraft from potential harm. This includes jamming enemy radar frequencies, saturating infrared seekers with decoy flares, and emitting false electronic signals to confuse or deceive adversary systems. Furthermore, the B-52's ECM suite is equipped with rearward-facing sensors, enabling the aircraft to detect and counter missiles engaging from the rear. This capability is crucial, as many modern air defense systems rely on rear aspect engagement tactics to exploit the vulnerabilities of departing aircraft. To ensure the continued effectiveness of the ECM suite, the United States Air Force is committed to ongoing modernization and upgrade efforts. These initiatives focus on enhancing the system's detection and countermeasures capabilities, allowing it to stay ahead of emerging threat systems. By continuously improving the ECM suite, the B-52 remains a formidable asset on the battlefield, capable of operating in the most challenging and dynamic environments. The future of an ancient bomber. Furthermore, details regarding the future modernization of the bomber were revealed. United States officials stated that the Stratofortress would receive new weapons, engines, reconnaissance systems, and communications equipment that would extend its life for many years to come. Following the upgrade, the B-52 will need fewer aerial refueling, which will result in both 30% fuel savings and less downtime for maintenance. The aircraft will also receive new radar equipment and a reconnaissance system that will allow one to calculate the enemy's position, even through thick clouds. All this will give the bomber crews the opportunity to adjust the tasks they have received, updated intelligence data during the flight, and not just fulfill preset goals. The B-52 Stratofortress is set to undergo a significant upgrade, which will include the installation of an advanced internal weapons bay. This new system will enable the aircraft to carry up to 8 of the latest JS series bombs, a substantial improvement over its current capabilities. Previously, the B-52 was only able to carry JDAM adjustable ammunition externally, which limited the number of munitions it could carry. However, with the new internal weapons bay, Boeing will be able to integrate precision-guided munitions internally, greatly enhancing the aircraft's firepower. In addition to the upgraded weapons bay, the B-52 will also be equipped with the MJ decoy missile. This advanced missile is designed to suppress enemy radar equipment, providing the B-52 with enhanced stealth capabilities and making it even more formidable on the battlefield. The cost of these upgrades is estimated to be around $12 billion, a significant investment in the B-52 program. However, opinions on whether this expense is justified are divided. Some experts argue that, despite the modernization, the B-52 is decades out of date and that its renewal cannot cancel the planned program for the purchase of new aircraft. Others contend that the upgrades will enable the B-52 to continue to play a vital role in the United States military's arsenal, leveraging its proven track record in combat to save money and resources. Regardless of the debate, the improved B-52 Stratofortress is slated to take to the skies next year, providing the United States military with an enhanced capability in the event of a conflict. With its advanced weapons bay, decoy missile, and other upgrades, the B-52 will remain a vital component of America's strategic aviation capabilities for years to come, because what aircraft could possibly replace it? B-21 Raider is the further future. The B-21 is slated to, by 2040, replace the United States Air Force's 45 B-1 strategic bombers, which date from the 1980s, and 19 B-2 strategic bombers, which date from the 1990s. The B-21 may also eventually replace the B-52, which is slated to remain in service for many decades. Benefiting from more than 3 decades of strike and stealth technology innovation, the B-21 is the next evolution of the United States Air Force strategic bomber fleet and the world's first 6th-generation aircraft to reach the skies. The B-21 Raider continues its flight test campaign at Edwards Air Force Base, California, led by a combined test force comprised of Northrop Grumman and Air Force personnel. CTF pilots indicate the jet is performing as expected, with the aircraft flying like the simulator, reflecting the precision of the digital environment on B-21. B-21 remains on track to meet its key performance parameter for average procurement unit cost of $550 million. The government has fixed-price production options for the first 21 aircrafts. Final terms, quantity, and pricing beyond the first 21 aircraft are subject to negotiation. The government and Northrop Grumman have established not-to-exceed pricing for an additional 19 aircraft. The average not-to-exceed value for the subsequent lots is above the average unit price of the 5 LRIP lots. So here's what you need to know about the B-21. As the B-21 Raider continues its flight testing, it's clear that this aircraft is setting new standards for sixth-generation technology. With its cutting-edge design and advanced features, the B-21 is poised to revolutionize the future of military aviation. One of the key advancements of the B-21 is its next-gen stealth capabilities, which make it easier and less costly to maintain than previous systems. The aircraft's low observable processes have been significantly improved, allowing it to evade detection with greater ease. This is a critical component of the B-21's design, as it enables the aircraft to penetrate contested airspace with greater success. Inside the B-21, the open architecture enables rapid upgradability, allowing for the easy integration of new weapons, software upgrades, and advanced networking capabilities. This is made possible by the successful migration to a cloud environment, which enables seamless communication and data sharing between systems. This open architecture approach ensures that the B-21 remains adaptable and effective in the face of evolving threats. A key strategy of the B-21 program was to build a production representative first test aircraft, rather than a prototype. This approach enables a smoother transition into production, as the test aircraft is equipped with mission systems and built using the same manufacturing processes and tooling as production aircraft. The knowledge and experience gained during development support a seamless transition to production, paving the way for operational capability. Northrop Grumman has embraced agile software development and digital engineering tools to mitigate production risk and enable modern sustainment practices for the B-21 program. Ground testing has demonstrated the efficacy of digital modeling, with results outperforming industry standards. This approach paves the way for next-gen platforms and systems, ensuring the B-21 remains at the forefront of technological advancements. By investing in a digital ecosystem throughout the aircraft's lifecycle, Northrop Grumman has reduced risk, supported efficiency, and cultivated expertise throughout the manufacturing workforce. Advanced manufacturing techniques, such as training and augmented reality tools, enable technicians to visualize tasks and solve problems before ever touching the plane. This approach eases integration of supplier parts and supports a more efficient manufacturing process. Sustainment was a program priority throughout the B-21's design phase, driving efficiency over the long term while yielding near-term benefits. This approach sets the B-21 further along on tech data, material readiness, and training, benefiting the user community upon fielding. By prioritizing sustainment, Northrop Grumman ensures the B-21 remains effective and efficient throughout its operational life. But while we wait for it to take over or not, the B-52 remains the king. Thanks for watching. See you in our next video.